Hello and welcome to another episode of the podcast. I have some new knitting to share today. Well, some new old projects. I finished something. I did it. I finished it. And I've been resisting starting another one. I'm sure if you've been watching recently, you can guess what I'm talking about. More about that in a minute. And I'm going to just tell you about what's coming up. Some great news. And we'll see what else we come up with. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you're new here, my name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns, I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through my website, YarnAddict.co.uk. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Before we get on with the knitting and crochet, let's just talk about some news. So last Friday, I did mention in the podcast last Friday, but I couldn't link to the specific workshops because they hadn't gone live yet. But my workshops at Black Sheep Wools in the autumn have now gone live. They went live last Friday. In September, on the 12th of September, I'm teaching a ferrule cushion. So you'll be able to choose between this one, which I taught this class on Friday at the Knitting Hotel. When I knitted this, I had worked out I need to do, I think it was 7 repeats. When I got the 6.5, I thought it looks like it's longer than the width. And obviously I wanted it to be square. So I stopped and knitted the button band. My plan was to block it to get the final measurements and then knit the button band, but I knitted the button band, and as you can see, it is a little bit too short. So I need to, at some point, probably when I get back from Norway at the end of July, actually undo the button band, knit another half a repeat. I think it's only like 7 rounds. It's not very much, and then re-knit the button band because this was annoying me all day Friday when I was teaching it. So you can choose between this cushion and my Love Hearts cushion, which I'm not sure where I put that at the moment. I can't see it. So those are the projects for that workshop. You can choose one of those two. Yarn is included in the workshop as well. And then on the 13th of September, I'm teaching my mosaic workshop, which I'm also teaching this Friday at Black Sheep Wools. I will put a picture of the project on screen. We're going to be knitting my Bergen scarf, which I launched last winter, spring, can't remember. I packed it because I'm teaching it on Friday, so it is packed. I did consider going through my bag and taking it out, but I packed everything, so I didn't want to take anything out. So 12th of September, a ferrule cushion. So you'll learn all about stranded colour work, how to knit with one colour in each hand. If you're a continental knitter, I'll show you how you can knit with both colours in the left hand the way I do, how to get perfect floats, how to sew up the cast on end afterwards, how to knit one row buttonholes, all that kind of stuff. Mosaic knitting, you'll learn how to knit mosaic colour work, how to shape and keep the pattern correct, how to knit one row buttonholes as well, because that's also in that pattern. And then in November, I'm teaching, 14th of November, I'm teaching Norwegian silver mittens, and the 15th of November, I'm teaching 2-colour brioche. Those 2 workshops have already sold out. I don't know whether Black Sheep Wools do a waiting list. I know for this week's workshop, one of them had a cancellation at some point last month, so they just announced it on their social media. I shared a post on my social media, and the space got sold again within like a day or 2, I think. So it is worth signing up to their newsletter, following them. I'll put a link to all the workshops below. If you're interested in the silver mittens and 2-colour brioche, let me know, and let Black Sheep Wools know, because we might be able to schedule them in for next year. So the 2-colour brioche apparently is sold out within 3 hours, which I'm really impressed with. We've gone for some slightly more, I would say, advanced workshops. I don't like using the word advanced because knitters who don't consider themselves advanced knitters tend to be put off by that. So I would say intermediate workshops to advanced. If you're a confident knitter who can knit and purl, cast on, cast off, you can do any of these workshops, quite frankly. But they were quite pleased that these sort of slightly, not beginner level workshops were selling quite well. So that's really good. I'm really pleased with that as well. So I'm going to be back at Black Sheep Wools in September and November, and hopefully they'll ask me back next year. I'm going after Black Sheep Wools on Thursday this week, and teaching on Friday and Saturday, and then driving home Saturday night. I'm going to try and film a bit and do a bit of vlog while I'm there, because I am traveling up on my own. It's a lot easier to film when I'm on my own. I don't know what's going on with my hair today. I'm a bit hot because I put the heating on this morning to dry my crochet project, which is finished, and I also got a haircut later there, and my hair is a real mess. I cut my fringe a few weeks ago because I postponed my haircut by about 3 weeks, I think, because I want to try and grow it a little bit longer. I didn't want it as short as I had it last time, because in the summer I wear it up a lot. So I postponed my haircut by about 3 weeks. So I cut my fringe, and normally I just blow dry it, wash it, blow dry it, and then I just snip into it with like hairdressing scissors, like that, like upwards, like that. Probably not the way you're supposed to do it, but that's the way I do it. But I did it with wet hair, so there are some really short bits that are like really short. So yeah, I know my hairdresser wouldn't be watching a knitting podcast, but she's going to have a bit of a challenge this afternoon to sort out this fringe. Anyway, I look forward to getting it cut because it is a bit of a mess. It also looked a lot better when I was in Norway. I think I was much happier with it in Norway. So I don't know whether it's the hair mousse I was using in Norway, or whether it's the fact that Norway is a drier climate than here. It's quite humid here. Norway is much drier, and I was also using a different hair mousse, which I haven't seen in the shops here. So I don't know which it is. Okay, one more thing before we get on to the knitting and crochet. My offer with Simply Knitting is about to finish. It finishes next week on the 5th of July. You can get a subscription to Simply Knitting magazine, which has great patterns for the whole family, men, women, children, stuff for the home, novelty items, toys, everything. And you can get 6 issues for £16, followed by £34.99 every 6 issues thereafter. The offer ends on the 5th of July, and I earn a commission on every subscription sold using my link below. So if you've been considering it, you've got 1 week, I think, left to do it. So I'm filming a little bit earlier this week because normally I film on a Thursday, but I'm going up to Black Sheep Wools on Thursday. So I'm filming on a Wednesday. I had planned to film yesterday because today is quite a busy day. But on Monday evening, I was looking at what I had to share in the podcast. And I thought, I have worked on my crochet sweater and I worked on my secret project, and that is it. I haven't worked at all on my 2 pairs of socks in progress. So I was like, well, it's going to be a very short podcast because I can't show you the secret sweater, and I haven't made a ton of progress on that either. I really need to focus on that for the next few days. So I cast them for 2 new projects yesterday. So let's start with those. One of them was going to be a new version of this cushion, which I designed a few months ago. I haven't finished a pattern yet. I based this on a pattern I did a few years ago called the Squares Bag, which I knitted in, I should have found it, but I'm not sure where it is. I knitted it in Shoppel Sauberperlen, which is a yarn, it's a 4-ply yarn, and it's like a ring with little mini balls. I think it's like 6 or 7 mini balls in a ring. And it goes from like a solid color through to another solid color. It's kind of like a mild gradient, I would call it. And I really liked it. And I stocked it for a few years, but it just wasn't very popular. I designed a few different designs in it, but I just wasn't selling it either on my website or at shows. I mean, I was selling it, but not a lot. I was using that project for workshops, but because most shops don't stock it, I also decided that workshop projects, it is better to use a DK yarn than a 4-ply yarn because people get more done in the day, or it looks like they get more done. So I decided to use the same pattern basically to design this cushion. But the pattern, I actually did photos as I went along and designed the original bag, and included those in the pattern. So it was like a pattern and a photo tutorial. So I've rewritten the pattern for this cushion, but I want to redo the photos, and I didn't do that when I knitted this. So I'm knitting it again and redoing the photos. I also need to do something about the ending up here. I didn't want a button band, so I tried to knit this flap that folds over, but this bit is a bit floppy, and this isn't big enough to fold over properly. So it all looks a bit floppy basically. So I need to decide what to do about that because I'm not happy about that situation. So I think I'm probably, well, I was going to try and finish the pattern before I go to Norway, so which basically means I have next week, because the week after I go on the Wednesday, and I've got an appointment on the Tuesday, which is going to take a big chunk of the day. So I only really have next week and then the Monday the following week. But on that Monday, I want to film the podcast, do my newsletter, all that kind of stuff. So I really only have next week to finish all the work I want to do before I go to Norway. So I decided I would start knitting this up again. And I'm actually going to turn this next one into a bag. First I was going to do the cushion in another colour, and then I thought, no, I'll do the bag, because it basically uses the same pattern. So I started knitting it, but I couldn't photograph it because I photographed it on my dining room table using this wooden block, which if you watched Tuesday's video, which was my June weekly studio vlog, you would have seen it, I think, because I think I talked about it there. I use that for photography and filming tutorials and stuff, and that's on my dining room table. I was blocking my crochet sweater on my dining room table, so I could have put the wooden board on top of the sweater, but I didn't want to do that. So I basically just knitted one mitered square. Then I'm going to pick up stitches to knit the next one, but I want to photograph that. So I finished that one because I started it, and halfway through I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do the photographs. So I just finished that one. You end up with one stitch, which I just put on a marker, because I thought if I leave it on the knitting needle, it'll just fall out. So I'm going to probably not do anything on this today. I'm going to leave it till I come back from Black Sheep Rules, and then I'll work on this next week and see if I can get enough of it done so I can get the photographs done. And then I also need to sort out what to do about the top of this cushion next week, so I can get that pattern finished and send it off to my tech editor. So that was the first pattern I started this week. And then when I was packing for my workshop, I was looking at the projects for the mosaic workshop. And I normally, when I teach mosaic workshop, I give everyone a choice between two patterns: my Bergen scarf and these hand warmers, which I designed just for the workshop. And I decided, because I don't like the yarn I knitted the original hand warmers in, I only knitted one of each size, and I've never released the pattern as a standalone pattern. So I decided I would, because I was busy on Monday printing patterns and packing everything, I thought maybe I should re-knit them, and I can cast them on, get started on them, and then I can use them for demonstration during the workshop. And then I went downstairs yesterday with the pattern. I packed everything from the workshop, including these samples, and I printed out the pattern for this sample. And then I was looking at the pattern, and that uses 4.5mm needles, and the Bergen scarf uses 4mm needles. And then I was like, I wonder what I asked people to bring. So I went on the workshop listing of Black Sheep Rules, and we agreed that I would just do the Bergen scarf, and there wouldn't be a choice because that was easier. Black Sheep Rules are supplying the yarn, so we thought if we just do one pattern, that's easier. So I need to go through my bag and pull out the hand warmer stuff, but I thought, well, I'll still do this because I think it's a nice project, and it's a pattern that's fairly quick and easy to do. So I decided to go with Yatagan Merino cotton because it's such a affordable, easy, nice yarn to knit with, very soft, lovely, great for accessories, and affordable. So my plan is to have this pattern ready for Yarndale, hopefully, because this yarn was very popular at last year's Yarndale and at Unravel this year. Even though Unravel tends to be, my more expensive yarns tend to sell better at Unravel, I sold more Yatagan Merino cotton than anything else, probably because of the clutch bags I have in that yarn. So I cast on, I knitted about half a repeat. This is a full repeat. I knitted about half a repeat yesterday, and then last night we went to spin class yesterday evening, and I sometimes need to come home and really do a proper stretch session, especially for my lower back and my hip flexors. And I didn't do that yesterday, and I woke up in the night. I drank too much water during the class. I had to go to the toilet, and my hip flexors were really sore. And if I slept on my left side, my hip was hurting. If I slept on my right side, my hip flexors just felt really sore and tight. So I ended up getting up in the night and sitting downstairs for 2 hours. So I finished knitting one repeat on this. That's a full repeat. I can't remember how many repeats I need to knit, but I am going to take this with me, I think. Okay, I've got to do a repeat 3 times for the larger size, which is what I'm knitting. So this is just work flat, very simple hand warmers, and I will release this as a pattern in the autumn. But I thought it was useful to actually knit it up in the yarn that I had. I was going to use these 2 colours, but I've done a few projects in these 2 colours now. They are my favourite colour combination, I think. So I had already, I don't like knitting from this shape ball. It drives me nuts. So I always hand wind it into one of these. And I'd already wound up the blue one. And I didn't want to waste, well, not waste, because I'd use it eventually, but I didn't want to take 2 other colours out of my stock. So I just grabbed a dark grey one and wound that one up. I should be fine with just 1 ball of each colour. So I think I will take this with me on my trip. My main project on the trip has to be my deadline project, because I need to finish it by the end of next week. Deadline is not actually till like middle of July, but because I'm away before the deadline, I need to post it before I go to Norway, which means I really need to finish it by the end of next week, because the week after I'm only going to have 1 day to work. I'm going to take this project with me and my deadline project, which is in here. That's all you're going to see of that one. I haven't actually written a pattern for this. I just wrote some very sketchy notes on my phone. So I need to, this morning, if I have time, may not have time, or this afternoon, just quickly write up the basic pattern. So it's straight to the underarms and it's knitted in the round. So all I worked out was how many stitches I'd need, and I know how far I need to knit to the underarm. So my plan was to try and get to that point before I leave on Thursday. I don't think I'm going to get quite to that point today, because it would mean knitting about 10 centimeters today. And because it's thin yarn and thin needles, it's 3mm needles, I don't think I'm going to knit that much. But I definitely want to get to that point before I come home on Saturday night. But I do kind of want to finish the pattern today if I get time this afternoon. But we'll see. If not, I can do it on Sunday. That's why I need to take another project with me, because I may finish this to the underarms, and if I haven't written the rest of the pattern, I don't want to do the rest of it without writing the pattern, because I don't want to have to rip back. So I'd rather put it on hold than till I can write the rest of the pattern. If I can get to this by the end of Sunday, then I can easily do the top from the underarm up. It doesn't have sleeves, it's a sleeveless top. And from the underarm up, because of cutting out for necklines and armhole shaping and stuff, it's a lot quicker, although it's knitted back and forth, but I can probably do that in a few days. So as long as I can get to the underarm done by Sunday, I will have no problems finishing it on time. So that's my plan with that project. So I'm going to take my deadline project with me, plus this one. And then I haven't worked on my socks at all. I think I said that. I think I'm going to take my opal socks. I think they're opal or red deer. I think they're opal. I finished the first one. I think it's downstairs. I think I'm going to take the second one with me, so that on the way home, if I've done all the knitting I can do on my deadline project, and I don't fancy the mosaic knitting, but I just want something easy to knit while I'm having a break in the services, motorway services, I can just pick up that and knit on that for a little bit. So that's what I'm thinking I'll do. So hopefully next week I may have made some progress on the sock. I'd like to finish the second sock of the opal, I think it's opal, of that pair before I go to Norway, because they've been on the needles for a while now, and I'd like to finish that sock. I also need in the next week to knit a swatch with this yarn I bought in Norway last time I was there, because I have 7 balls of this waiting in Norway for me to knit a sweater. I need to see what the weather forecast is going to be a couple of days before I go, because if it's going to be in the 20s the whole time, this might not be a pleasant thing to knit on. I've decided I don't want to knit in this project when I travel to Norway, because it's fluffy, and I'm probably going to wear black linen trousers, and I don't want them covered in pink fluff. So I may have to cast on another project for the traveling time, but we'll see. Okay, let's talk about my crochet project. It is finished. I'm really pleased with it. I finished it on Sunday evening, and I just had the neckline, the edging around the sleeves, and weaving in all the ends to do. And I thought I can do that Monday morning and then block it by Monday lunchtime. I finally blocked it Monday evening. It took all my kind of knitting time, crochet time, on Monday was taken up by doing the edging around the neckline and the sleeves and weaving in all the ends. There were a ton of ends to weave in. So I didn't finish it till Monday evening, and then I blocked it. And when I washed it, because I was considering just ironing it, like steam pressing it, so I didn't have to get it wet, because I was worried about how long it would take to dry. I was also thinking, can I get away with putting it in the washing machine, not to wash it, but just to spin it. It is machine washable on 30 degrees. So I probably could have put it, if I put it in like a laundry, like one of those mesh laundry bags, and put it on like a 400 spin, which is fairly low, like medium spin, then that would have taken out a lot more water, and I probably could have got away with that, but I was a bit worried about ruining it. I'm always nervous about ruining stuff. So I just rolled it up into one thick towel, squeezed as much water out as I could. Then I rolled it up into a second thick towel, squeezed as much water as I could, and then I left it in that for a while I did something else. Then I blocked it. And yesterday I kept going over and touching it, and it was still damp. When I got up at 1 in the morning last night, it was still damp. So before I went back to bed, I unpinned it. I stuck it on the radiator, hoping the heating would come on this morning, because it's been a little bit cooler the last few days, although I'm still quite hot this morning. So when I came down this morning at 6:30, I boosted the heater a bit, turned it up 1.5 degrees, just so that because it wasn't cold enough for the heaters to come on. So I just boosted it a bit by about 1.5 degree. Yeah, maybe it was a degree, I can't remember. So the heating came on, but that meant that the house was just way too hot. So I've been struggling a bit this morning because I'm really, really hot. I'm always hot the first thing in the morning anyway, but it's worse this morning. So I have finished it. So I'm going to put it on. I need to take my mic off and put it on and clip my mic back on again. So I'll do that and I'll come back and show you. So there we go. It is finished. I will get a picture and insert here, put on the screen once I've finished here, because it is difficult to see, and I can't really stand up and get much further back in this room. That's about as far back as my chair goes. We'll stand up. I'm really pleased with it. When I put it on after I finished it, it was the right size. It fitted me, but I thought it could probably do it a tiny bit more length, but I also didn't know how much it would relax. And I thought, because you're not casting off with crochet, if I wanted to add to the length, I could just crochet a couple more rows quite easily. So that would be fine. I also wasn't sure about the sleeves, but I didn't want them full long. I want them kind of halfway. They're probably slightly longer than what I anticipated them to be. Yeah, so if I hold my arms down, they come to like just above about a couple of centimeters above my watch. I didn't want them full length. Again, if I decide later on that I want them longer, I can just add a few more rounds, because I finished edging off. So you can see the stripes go this way, and then I've crocheted a couple of rounds around here. And the same thing around the neckline. I went for the same pattern around the neckline as I did on the body, but it was crocheted in the opposite direction. By the way, if you watched last week's podcast, when I was talking about this project, instead of saying I'm crocheting it from the top down, I'm crocheting this, I'm crocheting that, I kept saying knitting, and I did notice it when I was editing it. And I did think, should I just pop in, like film a little extra bit and say, sorry, I know I mean crochet, but I'm saying knitting. I think it's because I'm so used to talking about knitting, I just automatically say knitting. So if I refer to the crochet as knitting, I know crochet is different than knitting. But yeah, I think this is where, because can you see the pink ones, how it goes kind of like that. And then for the neckline, it goes that. Can you see that here? I did 2 rounds. These kind of clusters of trebles, shells or fans, I'm not quite sure what they're called. There are 7 trebles. I did that on the neckline first, and it flared a little bit, and I wasn't happy with it, because I was a bit worried the neckline was a bit too wide and I needed to bring it in a bit. So I only did 5 trebles for the neckline and for the sleeve edging. So here, these purple bits are 7. There's like a gap in the pink chain. There's like a 3 chain gap, and in that 3 chain gap I crocheted 7 trebles, on here and on the neckline I did 5 trebles, and I was actually thinking about making this again and doing 5 trebles instead of 7. So this is my original swatch. This has 7 trebles, and then this I did it in just 5 trebles, and I did the same number of stitches. And the purple one is a little bit longer because I did a couple extra rows because I changed needle size or hook size. But with the 5 trebles, even though I went up a hook size, it is slightly narrower. And it took every ounce of self-control I had on Monday evening not to immediately grab these 2 and start another one, because I really enjoyed it. When I finish making, we'll come back to making another one in a minute. What I was starting to say earlier, and then I got sidetracked, was when I finished this, when I first tried it on, it felt a bit heavy and a bit lumpy. I don't mean lumpy, but these sort of clusters of 7 trebles can feel a bit kind of dense. So when I blocked it, I was a bit surprised at how much it stretched, because I didn't expect it to stretch that much. I measured it before I blocked it, and then I was measuring it while I was blocking it, and I think the body width stretched like nearly 10 centimeters, which was a bit much. Didn't really want to stretch that much, but I think since I took it off, so normally when you block things, it's better if you can leave them till they're completely dry, and the longer you leave them, the more likely they are to keep their shape. But obviously I took this off before it was completely dry, put it on the radiator, but the radiators went on for another 3.5 hours because I put it on by 3 o'clock this morning. Then I went back to bed, and then I went downstairs at 6:30 and put the radiators on. So because I wanted it to be dry for this, because I didn't want to drag this over to next week. But if I wasn't doing that, I probably would have just left it blocking all day today. These trebles, it feels a little smoother and lighter after blocking it. So before I blocked it, it just felt a little bit kind of lumpy. I don't mean lumpy. It's a bit heavy. And after I blocked it, because everything's stretched out and relaxed, it just feels lighter. I don't know how to explain that. Do you get what I mean? I'm not sure whether I'm explaining myself very well. I am wondering whether I need another round on the neckline, but I think I'm going to try it like this and see what that's like. I'm really, really pleased with it. I'll try and get some photos once I've finished filming this and insert them so you can see the full length, but I'm really pleased. The length is right. I like the sleeves. I didn't want it full length. Don't think I'm going to wear it when I walk the dog this morning, because it's quite hot, and well, it's not that hot, but it's quite warm and humid today, and I'm already quite warm. Because I'm hoping it'll just be like a light layer I can throw on over t-shirts when it's not too cold. It is 4-ply. It's not super light, but it is lacier than the sweater I knitted last year in this yarn, which is a bit, even though it's lacy, it's a bit denser and a bit too warm to wear when the temperatures are like this. So I am keen to make another one of these. I was thinking about using these 2 colors, the same yarn. So before we go on to what else I'm planning to do, let me just show you, because I ordered some more yarn because I didn't have enough of the purple yarn. I need to wait to actually work out how much I've used. I think I used maybe 3, nearly 3 of the pink one, and then I can't remember how many of the purple one I had. I think I had 4 maybe, and then I thought I needed another 4, but I ordered 5 just in case, and I have 3 left. So I ordered these from a company called Venetia's Yarn Shop. I don't know if you can see that. It is, I'll link it, I'll put the link on the screen, venetiasyarnshop.com in Fakenham, is that how you say it? Norfolk. Very quick, it came the next day, I think. It was packed in a lovely box, which is very useful. So I have 3 left. I could have ordered 4 and still had 1 left. I only need to order 2 really, but I didn't want to risk running out, because that would have been annoying if I'd run out. So I am thinking about crocheting it in this. What I was thinking about doing was using, for the top to the underarm, using this as the main color and this as the pink color, this for the purple and this for the pink, and then for the lower body, from like the bust down, swap them. So this would be the main color and this would be the pink color. So my plans for this week is to decide whether I need to do another round around the neckline. Let me know what you would do. Would you do another round around the neckline? Again, it's really easy just to join in the yarn and do it. I don't have to unpick a cast off or anything. That's what I love about crochet. So would you do another round around the neckline? I'm worried if I do, it's going to be a bit tight over my head, but I might leave it like this for a few days and see how happy I am with it. My knitting plans for this week is to knit as much as I can on my deadline project. I need to get to the underarm by the end of the weekend. That's just has to happen. I doubt we'll do much on Sunday because I'll be really tired on Sunday. So I might go to the gym and just have a relaxing day on Sunday. And then I will take my mosaic project with me to Warrington for Black Sheep Wools, and I'll probably take my sock project as well. So hopefully next week I might be able to show you finished mosaic hand warmers. It'd be nice to finish it so I can get the new pattern off to my tech editor before I go to Norway. And I also want to sort out the top of this one. So we'll see. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you're working on at the moment. Do you like crochet? Because I've talked a lot about crocheting lately. I've had a lot of lovely comments. I'm still really behind on comments, so I am trying to catch up by doing a few every day, but I am still really behind on comments. So if you've left the comments in the last few weeks and I haven't replied, I will get around to it, I promise. But let me know, do you crochet? Do you like crochet? Do you fancy learning to crochet? I actually do have a video coming out in a few weeks' time on knitting versus crochet, because there is a lot of, I don't know, animosity between knitters and crocheters. I saw somebody the other day saying that whenever she got her crochet out in public, people were sort of like saying it was ugly and knitters looking down on her. And I don't know whether it's just some people being a bit sensitive or whether it is. So I've done a video where I talk about it. But tell me, do you crochet? Do you only knit? Do you do both? Do you prefer one or the other? Do you think crochet is old-fashioned? Do you think this looks too granny-ish? I do think it has like a kind of slightly vintage look to it. But I really like it and I'm really happy with it. So I guess that's all that matters. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.